All right. Welcome to our first interview as a couple. Usually it's just me, but today my fiance Zolma wanted to get involved. Go ahead and
Yeah.
say hello, Zolma.
I mean, you guys already know this.
Yeah.
I'm Zulma, and we have a very special guest today, and I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Dave.
I'm known as Flat Earth Dave, and I'm always introduced as a very special guest. Like, he's a flat earther. It's very special.
Hey, you probably have one of the more popular followings, so it is special to us. We appreciate you coming on, really.
No problem. Just trying to get the word out there to people and trying to figure out why some people think that we live on a spinning rock with water on the outside, flying through an infinite vacuum.
I
I don't
mean, I
understand it.
I would imagine it would be the reports from
Scientists.
scientists. But
Scientists,
yeah,
like
yeah.
who?
I, I mean, anybody from I would guess NASA. I'm not an
Anyone
educated.
who has graduated with a science degree in astrophysics would be considered a scientist and would
Yeah,
know about astronomy.
yeah, I get
But
it.
can we ask you how did you
Yeah, how'd you
yeah how did
transition?
you get into it?
Yeah, how'd you transition?
Scary of the world and Joe and have another you become a flat earther once you understand what the flat earth isn't and what the globe model is. You realize it's complete and utter nonsense.
Well, I was looking through because I never really had like a ball or sphere, I guess, in the court, or so to speak. But after you emailed us, I started to look into it myself,
Yeah,
and
right. We both did.
yeah, it does look like especially people like Neil deGrasse Tyson does look like he's trying to answer all of the questions you guys have.
No,
Is
he doesn't. He's a failed actor, and he only gaslights us. He never he's like, if there was an eclipse, if the Earth was flat, an eclipse would look like a slice going through the moon on some of the angles. No flat earther believes that the Earth has anything to do with a lunar eclipse. And he does. We've tried to corner him and get him to do a show with us, and he will not. But he says, he doesn't have the time, or no, they're not worth talking to. He also says the science is settled. Well, no scientist should say the science is settled because science is never settled. And he
that is
does
true.
he
That's
does video after video after video with straw man arguments and gaslighting. So I wouldn't call him a scientist at all. He's a failed actor.
so about that eclipse stuff though. If that isn't because that did make sense. I did see the video you're referring to. That did make sense
Yeah.
to me. So how would you explain it then?
Well,
Yeah, what's your definition of a flat earth? Because you say a lot that it's not what other people think.
right. So the flat Earth is not a disk floating in space with a bunch of sphere planets. It's not a pancake in space, not at all. The flat Earth is more like a giant lake, and the lake uh, is surrounded by land that's higher than the lake, just like any lake. The edge of a lake is where the land is higher than the water. So all of the islands, continents are surrounded by water, but all of the water is surrounded by higher land. That land is known as Antarctica. Antarctica is bigger than all of the oceans and all of the continents combined. But they want us to think that it's a little island on the bottom of a ball when it's not. It's the shoreline of the world pond, and nobody is allowed to explore its outer limits.
Um, I mean, people have explored the outer
They have
limits. I
not.
was looking.
I
I was
mean,
looking at some
Admiral
some
Byrd
video
had.
footage.
I'm sorry?
Admiral Byrd did in the 1950s.
Yeah, I also read about a guy who died like 13 miles. He wanted to be the first guy to do it without any sort of guidance or like professional
Yeah.
help, and then he died like 13 miles in. And then I also read about how that it's
These are all
almost
stories.
yeah. I mean,
I
I
mean,
didn't look into it to look and see if he had a death record, if he actually existed. But I mean, if you were to think of it that way, where it's just so what would happen, what would you believe if you went to the bottom of the this lake, and
The the
could you break
the
through?
outer edge of the lake.
No, for if let's say you wanted to go down, how
There
far
is no
down do you
down. It's
believe?
just out. It's away
No,
from the center.
into the so if I
yeah, but
took a
the depth of the ocean.
yeah, if
So
I
like
took a
when you're
dive.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. So at the bottom
yeah.
of the ocean, then what's the
Yeah.
question?
Yeah. So what do you think when you break through, it just falls, or there's just an ending, like you can't break through, like a Minecraft game?
So what are you asking? What's below the flat Earth?
Yeah, like there has to be some sort of escape. This isn't just it. There's no way.
Well, the deepest hole ever dug, whether the Earth is flat or round, is called the Great Borehole, and it's in Russia, and it's about 7.5 miles deep. So they can never at 7.5 miles, they got to the point where they couldn't drill any farther. They hit an impenetrable barrier. For years, they tried drilling through it. They tried blowing it up, but they couldn't get through it, no matter what they did. So that's equivalent to if the Earth was an apple that you drilled through the skin of the apple, halfway through the skin of the apple, and and while they were drilling, they were using ground penetrating radar to see what they were going to hit next. And they were wrong every step of the way. So the ground penetrating radar didn't even work. And somehow, when you got halfway through the skin of the apple, you hit an impenetrable barrier. But somehow you know what's 4,000 miles below that? I don't think so. That's pseudoscience. This is what astrophysics and science will teach you in college, when all of it is just pure made up theory.
I mean, where would lava come from then?
Yeah,
Comes
where
from
would
underneath the ground. The Earth is electric, and electricity generates a lot of heat.
Yeah, but that
yeah,
that picture that you have up,
but would
Yeah,
it come from the core?
that's a
Essentially.
Yeah.
meme. Nobody knows
no, that's
what's
not a
below the
meme.
skin.
That's not a meme. That's definitely not a meme. They don't show memes on textbooks.
So where
Um,
wait, so where did they get this? Where did they figure this out from? Because they can only get through half of the skin.
okay, but the thing is, okay,
This
let's
is all speculation. None of it has any scientific fact behind it. They couldn't get through the skin. Let that sink in. The skin, this hole is the deepest hole ever dug, and it's 7.5 miles. There's another 4,000 miles to the center of the Earth. And when they were digging this hole, they said, all right, there's no more water. They hit more water. Okay, there's no more rocks. They hit more rocks. Okay, there's no matter what they thought they were hitting, they were wrong. So how could they know what's below the skin?
I just wish that I was able to be there, because that just doesn't. I feel like that would be like news breaking news, like
You can look it
breaking
up.
news. I
The
feel like
information's
everybody
out
would know
there.
about that.
Look up the
I
Great
think
Core. It's
I
called the
would.
Kola borehole.
The cola, like
I think it's
Coca
called the
Cola
Kola
or
borehole, or
COLA.
just the Google the deepest hole ever dug. But that information is slowly getting purged from the internet, just like the moon missions data and everything.
So yeah, that was another thing. I was listening to you on a podcast talk about how like the moon landing was fake and whatnot, and all of those like a microphone going through somebody's neck in like a, so that makes you believe that it was recorded. And I tried to find those myself, and I couldn't find them.
Yeah. Well, they're all you can find them all on the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. But that's the thing. They've changed the algorithms where you can search for a video by name, by channel name too, and it won't show up. They'll just feed you propaganda. I call
Oh
it
yeah,
the turd in the punch bowl method.
that reminds me. You had an app that you had developed yourself. Is that the one you just referenced to? Right?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Did you want to talk more about that? Because I know Zolma has a few questions in her phone on her notes, right? That you're writing down
Um,
that you wanted to ask, right?
I'm not. I'm just gonna go with it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
throughout the.
Well, yeah.
Um,
Tell us a little bit about the app and how you developed it. How many people are on it? So people can jump on board with them. You know.
So the app called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, and it shows you how the flat Earth works, how seasons work, how the sun and the stars are a perfect clock, how they repeat, how everything's set in their positions in the sky, and how the sky clock works, and all of that stuff is provably impossible on a heliocentric beehive world that they tell us that we live in. So um, the app also has a featured video of the day every day, and I offer a challenge. I'm a man behind my words. I'm offering a Bitcoin for anybody that can watch the featured video every day for 2 weeks. And at the end of that, if they think the Earth is still a globe, and they can provide one proof, just one proof of the globe, they win a Bitcoin. But before they do, they have to go into the app and hit the FAQ button, the question mark, and up come the top 21 questions like, what about ships over the horizon? What about seasons? What about the Coriolis effect? What about eclipses? What about
Excuse me. Sorry, let me close the window real quick. Ooh, sorry about that.
No problem. So and in there, when you click that, up come a huge playlist of videos that will answer all those questions and show you how you can verify those things yourself. Unlike NASA, where you can't verify anything they say, you can verify all of the things that we claim. And so the app will bring you to all of that information very easily. If you try to Google flat Earth, you end up at the Flat Earth Society with with sites that tell you that the Earth is rising at 9.8 meters per second to create gravity. No flat earther believes any of that. So again, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, it's by Blue Water Bay. And just read the reviews and you'll see what people are saying about it.
Oh yeah, I want to check it out just out of curiosity.
Sure.
But so what I did actually go into looking at myself is the Southern Cross and the Northern Lights, how you can kind of watch the stars rotate in clockwise or counterclockwise. How would you explain that with a flat Earth?
So there's a couple things. Looking at the optics of the sky is no way to prove the shape of the Earth. But if you take a glass dome and put it over a star field over it and look through it and rotate the stars, they'll rotate in two different directions by the optics of the sky. And that's if there's a dome over us. I think there is. But also, if you have a spinning disk of stars above you and you're on the inner half of the circular world, flat world, and you're looking at let's say you're looking at the star, you're not under the North Star, you're just like in the United States, so the stars, North Star is off to the side a little bit. You're watching it and the stars are coming from your right shoulder to your left shoulder. They're going clockwise, right? So then if you walk to the outer part of that, the outer southern land, and turn around, right, they're going the other way. Like if I have my back to the North Star, the stars are going from my left shoulder to my right shoulder. Okay. And then if I turn around, they're going from my right shoulder to my left shoulder. So that's why they go in the opposite direction. But we have videos on there and on the frequently asked questions on the clock. It says, what about star rotation? This is the hardest one to answer verbally because you need to see the visuals. We can show you how they rotate in both directions, and you can do time lapses from on the equator looking north and looking south, and you'll have straight lines on the equator, you'll have counter rotating ones on the north and south, and we can recreate the same thing with a glass dome.
And but there's also proof that if you're on the Southern Cross section and then you're also on the Northern Lights section, those two people can't necessarily see. They can maybe see one or two of the same stars.
Yeah.
They're looking at a different platform. So if it was flat, wouldn't you be able to, even with a telescope, wouldn't you be able to just see the other side?
Yeah, so you can't. One thing is you can't see forever, and the stars and all of the luminaries in the sky are within the Earth system. They're not that high. So imagine we're standing in a room with 10-foot high ceilings, and there's recessed lights randomly in the ceiling, and we'll call those the stars. Okay. And then now I expand that room to 10 miles wide. 10 miles is pretty far for a 10-foot high ceiling, and you will go down 5, 6, 7 miles away from me. Okay. I won't be able to see you and you won't be able to see me because the floor and the ceiling will merge and into a vanishing point, and you won't be able to see me. And then when we both look up, we're going to look up at completely different stars, and neither of us will be able to see the same lights in the ceiling.
But we have if money wasn't an issue, you would be able to buy a telescope theoretically, right?
Well, theoretically, you can. Well, you don't even need that much money to buy a telescope. The problem is now you have to add atmosphere in there. And when you're down on the ground, the atmosphere is very thick. You can't see that far. You can't see 150 miles. You can't see 150 miles. You can't see that far. Reflective light will not go that far. Now, sunlight will go a little farther than that. You can actually see the sun farther than that. But there's places like in Alouge, France, we can look out at Mount Canigou. It's 175 miles away, and you can't see it because at that distance from that viewing height, the top of Mount Canigou should be top of Mount Canigou should be um, a mile below the curvature. So I'm showing a video here. So the top of Mount Canigou should be a mile below the curvature, but 2 days a year the sun migrates in between the two tropics, and 2 days a year the sun lines up with Mount Canigou from this famous spot. And as the sun moves beyond it, all of a sudden you can start seeing Mount Canigou. It'll show up. You all of a sudden you're like, hey, wait a minute, what is this? It looks like a cloud. But no, this is Mount Canigou right here. And the very top of Mount Canigou should be a mile below if this is a physical horizon, but it's not. Here is Mount Canigou. We can not only see the top of the mountain, we can see the entire mountain. At 175 miles, the top should be a mile below the curvature, but we can see the entire thing. It's not a mirage because, as you see, as the sun goes beyond it, the mountain actually blocks the sun, and a mirage couldn't do that.
Okay, so why is it that in Japan, when the sun is up, it isn't over here? It's literally, you can see it dipping
Right, time
around
zones.
the horizon. Why is that?
You don't see you don't see it dipping. You see it going. It looks like it's going down, but it's not, because it's just going away, and it has to do with it's all about perspective. So as the sun moves away, these clouds are all at the same height. They just look like they're lower because they go into distance. So it looks like it's setting here, and it looks like it's setting here, but this cloud's 25, 30 miles away, merge with the horizon. So it just goes beyond them, and it appears it's going down. Like if my fist was the sun, I move it away and it sets, but I'm not bringing it down. It all has to do with perspective. And then we have in the app, click where does the sun go, and we have 100 videos showing you how it goes. Experiments you can do yourself to show you how perspective works. I'll show you here.
All right.
Here's an experiment I did. I did it in my kitchen. You don't even have to go outside. I created a level line, and I'm walking a sun across this level line, and I'm filming it from the height of the line. So you can clearly see that the line is level. And on the counter, I have different mountains. They could be cloud banks or whatever, because the atmosphere becomes opaque after a couple hundred miles or even less. It literally becomes opaque even to the sun. So now I'm filming it from the level of the counter, and that line sure looks like it's going down, but it's still level. And as it goes beyond that deck, which looks like it's at eye level, but it's not. If my kitchen was bigger, it would really look like it's eye level. And so it looks like it's setting from the bottom up. But that line that looks like it's going down, it's not. It's level. I just showed you it's level. Now I'm going to compare it to an actual sunset. So here's my sun going down, and here's the real sun. You think this is the horizon, but look, what's this? This is the atmospheric deck of opacity.
I get that, but let's just say that the Earth is round, and you do that experiment, and you're doing it on a small.
It would work
scale.
on a round Earth. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
if the Earth was
that's what I'm
round,
saying. You're getting the
but if the
perspective
Earth
of an ant, and that
well,
ant
that
because
see,
your house
that
floor isn't flat; it's actually rounded, just like the rest of the planet, just in such a minuscule way.
We can see too far. You can't see Mount Canigou on a round planet. I showed you that we can. I'm showing you there's things that work on a ball Earth and on a flat Earth. That's fine. There's things that only work on a flat Earth. That's good for the flat Earth. There's nothing that only works on a ball Earth.
And but who would benefit from convincing the mass population that the Earth is round? Why would anybody make that lie?
One, do you like working for a third to half of the year to pay the government? Do you enjoy that?
Mean, of course not, but I understand the necessity.
Well, the necessity is what? They're funding NASA. They're funding
No, they're
wars.
they're not just funding NASA. They're funding a bunch of other stuff that is actually a necessity for the world that we live in.
Do you know where all of your tax money goes?
Do you know where all of our
yeah, I know where it all goes. It all goes to interest for the Federal Reserve. Do you know what the Federal Reserve is?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we know what the Federal Reserve is.
What is the Federal Reserve?
It's the bank that has all the money.
I mean,
is it a government entity?
It used to be based on the gold standard, and now
but do you know that the Federal Reserve is a private bank? It has nothing to do with the government.
Oh, I mean, I didn't, but I mean that kind of makes sense considering there's even jails and hospitals that are privately done.
So you think it's cool that about private bankers create money out of thin air based on nothing, lend it to the government at interest? You think that's cool?
I mean,
That's how the
it's not, but that's a whole different issue, though.
yeah, this has nothing to do with Earth.
I'll answer your question. Why? They want you believing that there's nothing more, that you're trapped here in a prison planet, that you have no power, that you're insignificant, and that they have dominion over you when none of that is true. That's why. So that
Well,
benefits them
Yeah, but we
tremendously.
don't all excuse me, but we don't all believe that.
yeah, it's
I'll believe
that-
what?
We What do you mean? Exactly what you just said. We don't all believe that we're powerless. I don't know where you get the idea from, but I think that I'm a pretty powerful human being, and I'm sure that every other person who believes that the earth is round believes that too. We
There are
have power to do anything we want to do.
Yeah, if we
Right.
wanted, we could go into NASA, try and figure out everything that you're trying to disprove, and then try and come forward with the proof, and then you're just going to shoot it down again.
Well, that's a straw man argument. That's not true. NASA is a fake agency. NASA's never sent anyone to space. No one's been to space because space doesn't exist.
Oh, space doesn't exist.
Yeah,
If
look,
space-
you're so easily fooled. How this is the space station. Where's the land?
I mean, they're over the
That's- oh
ocean.
my
The
God.
ocean is like, what is it, like 70-something% of the planet?
So this
We're
is over the
just right
ocean. Is that
over
what you're telling me?
it. I mean, maybe.
I mean, what else
I
is
don't
it going to
know.
be over?
It could be in my front yard, and I just filmed it upside down with a solar panel. I'm just showing you how easily you are fooled. We're all
Okay,
fooled.
so-
I was fooled.
Yeah, but oh my god.
Let me ask you a question. Is
don't
this
see-
40,000 pounds of steel falling out of the sky, or is this a blimp? Use
It's
your
whatever
discernment.
it's whatever
I
you
mean,
want it
it
to
does.
be.
I can tell
Jesus
that one's
Christ.
photoshopped. I know you're trying to do me again.
This
but
is
it does look like a
photoshopped?
mis- I'm not photoshopped, but it's definitely a missile thing that you put. Not a missile, but a bomb thing that you put there. I can tell.
No, this is not. This is actual footage from NASA of the external tank of the space shuttle falling back to Earth, and it's going to burn up before it touches those clouds. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. You're wrong. You think because listen, I did fool you, but this is supposedly 40,000 pounds falling from the sky. This is floating by, and then you're going to watch in a second. A piece of paper is going to float by. Right? If this was falling, it would be falling at 1,000 miles an hour. Okay, but it's rolling like a friggin' balloon. Watch, here comes the paper. It's going to go by right there. Okay,
Okay, so
this is floating. So this is clearly a helium device, but they're telling us it's the external tank of the space shuttle, and it's not.
all
I
right.
mean, but I could also excuse that by you saying you said that perspective is everything, correct? I could say with that right there, that perspective is everything. Our eyes can't determine how fast if it's going that fast, then we cannot determine how fast something is going. Do you
Yeah.
understand that?
Yeah,
It's all about perspective.
and-
correct?
So wait a minute. So this is being filmed from the space station or from the shuttle that is orbiting at 17,000 miles an hour. How is it keeping that in frame so beautifully?
I mean,
Ask the people who built it.
it's probably
We're not
no,
working
no.
for
I
them.
know how it is. It's just
Jesus
a
Christ.
wide scaled angle, and then they just zoom it in after post because they definitely do some editing. They've even admitted
No,
that
this
they
was
have
live.
to do some editing.
This was live.
Yeah, so you just have a good dude that can really cut it really well, and there's actually bots that can follow a color scheme. They have AI that can follow a color scheme, and they're gonna find in blue in front of, I mean not blue, brown in front of a bunch of white and blue. That'll be easy. That's how your green screen works, bud.
I don't understand what you're saying.
So they have a bot that can do the zooming for you.
There's a
just by
guy holding a camera filming
no.
this.
Yeah, so what he does is a wide scale, and then there's a bot that has an auto zoom, and he just clicks or taps the blue, or not the blue, the brown, and it sticks to the brown as well as it can. Does that make any sense?
Well, I know what you're saying, but that's not what's going on.
That's how you make aimbot.
How's
Well,
that thing
how do
moving
you know-
sideways?
How do you know that's not what's going on?
I'm going to
Because-
coding
because
college.
we-
I know
we-
exactly how that works.
Well, because when the guy was filming it, he was talking, holding the camera. He moved the camera around inside the spaceship, brought it back to the window, and was filming this thing. Okay.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean the app will stop working. And yeah, it's a little shaky because he's holding it in his hands, like you said. But the AI.
So
literally
how
has
come
an
that
eye
is? How
sticks on
come?
the
How is
ground.
that keeping up with them though? They're going 17,000 miles an hour. How's it keeping up with them?
It's exactly what I just said. The app will literally do the zooming for you as
No,
long as you
no.
have a lens
How
that
is
can do it.
how is the tank keeping up with the shuttle that's going 17,000 miles an hour? You're telling me that tank can go through the air sideways at 17,000 miles an hour?
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and do all the math for you,
Well,
but
I did the
yeah.
math. That's I did it for you. That's the issue. You know what the SR-71 is?
No.
It's the spy plane. It's literally like a razor blade.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've seen
So
that one.
that thing goes Mach 3.2, right? And if it goes any faster, it's like 2,300 miles an hour, it starts to literally rip apart. Okay.
Okay. All
Right.
right.
And that thing is pretty aerodynamic. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So
That's
if you
also within
compare
the
that, if you
gravitational
compare
pull.
this thing at Mach 3.2 to this hunk of junk, this thing is going 10 times faster.
Yeah, but there's no there's literally like way less gravitational pull at the level the hunk of
No,
junk is at. Yeah.
no. This thing goes way faster before it's out of the atmosphere. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That
So how is it going faster than Mach 3.2 with this non-aerodynamic shape?
because that's why the rocket thrusters on that one are so much bigger, and that one's small, and the way it goes so fast is by making itself lighter. So that's why it can rip up itself so well too, because it's a lighter, probably not made out of the same material. All that stuff, man. And I mean, I hope you're sleeping on a Tempur-Pedic, because that would be so ironic. You
Well,
know, they
because
developed.
NASA
Yeah.
NASA made space foam,
Yeah.
whatever, you know.
uh,
So NASA gets $65 million a day, and they came up with memory foam. I don't believe actually NASA made memory foam. I think that's a fake story, but I'll just give them credit and say that they did.
well, that I mean, that's one thing. That's
made a
nice of
good
you.
bed.
And you know
So
what?
let me ask you a question: How do the stars reset every year to be in the exact same position? If you go out tonight, measure where the stars are, and then next year, same night, same time, go out.
That's
How are the
that's
stars
why
in
we
the exact same position
that's why
No,
when
we
that's
we
have.
perspective.
Yeah, no, that's no.
No, and that's
That's why.
perspective as well.
Oh,
They're
okay.
so far out
Well,
that
I would imagine that it would be because every year when we rotate, that's why we have years, so that we can time shit out like that. That's why they can say, oh, here's a meteor shower that happens once every blah blah blah, and because that time zone, that the
So
reason that
so
day
so
is
what
the
what
same
so a meteor
day.
shower happens when we go through the same piece of space where a comet had once gone through?
No, because everything they can follow the orbit. They can follow the orbit of shit. Like there's a big meteor garden or bed or whatever. That's where they got the idea for like things like Star Wars and stuff.
So
Because
how
those are
come we
real.
have the Perseus meteor showers in the same week every August?
Yeah, because in August, that's when we're in that part of the rotating of the orbit at the same time, and we meet up at the same time with that within that region. That
Well,
makes sense.
but you know that we're never in the same spot again because the sun is moving a 500,000 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
and so is everything else
So everything else is following the sun, everything,
in
including the
in
North
ours
Star.
in our galaxy. Yes,
Is
everything
is the
that's
North
within.
Star following the sun?
No, that is blown away from a bajillion miles away, and
light
it's already
years
yeah, it's
away.
already dead, and that's why that doesn't
Half
move.
the stars
That's
that you're
light.
seeing, half the stars that you're seeing at night when you do go out at night, since it's so many light years away, half of them might even be dead.
That's cool story.
I mean, I could say the same thing about your story.
Well, you can verify all the stuff I do. I mean,
No,
like
I can't though,
if you go
because
to
who is it
the Georgia
researched by? It's
Guidestones and you
researched.
look through
No,
this
excuse
hole,
me, I'm
you can see
speaking.
the North Star exactly in the same place. It never
Who
moves ever.
Because of what I just said, though. I mean, what I just
Because of
said makes
perspective,
sense.
because even though we're traveling billions of miles a year, it's so far from the North Star that it never moves. There's no parallax. That's what you're saying,
I
right?
mean, eventually that light will just die out.
How long?
Not anytime soon,
Dude,
but
how long? How are we?
that is a huge. That's why it's
Jesus
such a
Christ.
big. That's why it's such a big star.
So
is
what
because
is your
it's-
proof that we live on a globe? What's your number one proof?
What's your number one proof that we live on a flat Earth?
We can
Who
see
is
too
your
far.
research?
Well,
No.
hold on. You asked me a question. I'll
Who
answer
is
it.
your research done by though? Because there's no scientific evidence or
babe.
proof that we live on a flat Earth.
babe.
You-
It's
you-
okay.
That's just an ignorant sentence because there's
Everything
proof.
you're spewing at us is pretty ignorant too.
There's we can see too far.
that I mean that
Jesus
doesn't.
We can
that
see too
doesn't-
far.
No, because you can watch the ship dip away.
No, you can't.
You can.
Yes, you can.
I've done it.
So here you go. This is what you saw. So right now, there's no ship out here. There's no boat out here. There's no boat out here. I'm zooming in. I'm zooming in. There's no boat. No boat. Right. I'm zooming in across the flat plane. Oh, here's a boat.
Yeah,
So
you
I'm
can't
gonna
see the end of
Do you,
that
do you
boat.
see the
hold
corner?
on. Just pay attention. Stop spewing. You can see the whole side of the boat. Now I'm going to zoom away, and it's going to disappear from the bottom up. Is that going over a curve, or is
That
it a perspective thing?
Oh my god.
It's an angular resolution thing.
If it was flat, then it wouldn't do that at all.
So
As
how
you
am I
zoomed in
zooming
or
in on
out.
it? Am I zooming over the curve?
No, yeah, but here's the here's the thing. That is so
This man, bro.
minuscule. Like, but the thing is if it was flat, you wouldn't see it rotate at all when you zoomed in, but you can see the rotation.
See what rotation?
And plus the water's moving and flopping up and down. Like, what do you expect? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so aggressive.
No, I'm
but
showing you why ships appear to disappear from the bottom up. Now we've done an experiment where
Because of
on a
the
Home
curve.
Depot floor, perfectly smooth floor, we put a iPhone camera with the lens closest to the floor. We put a brick right in front of it and filled the whole screen. Then we dragged that brick across the floor, and when we got like 3/4 of the way across, you couldn't see the brick anymore. So then we lift the phone up. You could see the brick. We brought it back down. You can't see the brick. Then
Okay,
we
but-
stack 3 bricks. Oh, let me finish. Then we
All right.
stack 3 bricks on top of that brick, and the camera's on the floor. We can see the 3 bricks, but we can't see the bottom brick. We drag it farther. The second brick disappears. Why is it disappearing from the bottom up? Is the Home Depot floor a curve, or is it a angular resolution thing?
With that logic, the whole star thing you're saying with the atmosphere getting in the way, eventually you'd be able to zoom so far you could see the stars on the other side.
That's not true. You can't
Then-
see that
then what
far.
you're- then
And
what
when you
you're
look
just saying-
across
you
the
just said we
horizon,
see too far.
when you look across, you can't see that far, and they literally go behind. I showed you the sun disappearing behind the atmospheric density.
Yeah, and you
Okay,
also
I've
showed
done
the
it. You ask the
curvature of the
experiments.
orbit.
I've done this myself. This is a very close up. The sun was up here. This is from a drone. It started going from in 5 minutes. It went from up there to here. Now, if the Earth was rotating, it would just keep going, but it didn't. It went from here in 5 minutes time. It went to here, and then it sat there for 10 minutes. It stopped going down. Like, all right, what's going on? Why is it going down? This is sped up 2,500%, right? And instead of going down, you can clearly see that it's going away, and now it can't push through the atmosphere. This was super clear day. Okay, here it is again. It just disappears. It's not going down, it's going away. This is in Africa, a super clear, super dry day. And the sun, this is sped up again. It's not going down, it's going away. It's circling around the circuit of the Earth, right? Clearly, this is how time zones work. It's absolute. There's so much evidence. It's unbelievable.
All right. Well, we are at the end of our 30. I do want to say, I do appreciate you coming on. Things did get a little heated, and I apologize. I do respect that you put so much research into this. You could probably write the next National Treasure with Nicolas Cage. You're very good at puzzling things together. And
You guys are very good at believing unprovable stuff. And
Yeah, and so are you, dude. So are you.
I mean,
Because I still don't know where your evidence is coming from. It's
because you're
all-
not thinking, girl.
oh man. Okay, I'm gonna have to cut you off there, man. Like,
Yeah.
it just
Good, hey,
it was
good,
really
good
fun.
luck with that one, man.